Ashley Westwood, footballing gods are cruel. Cruel, cruel, cruel.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, you'd have to take your hat off to Iceland, to be honest. You know, Iceland defended really, really well. Argentina was set up with Lionel Messi, hoping to be at his best, and they just couldn't break him down. You have to, sometimes, as well as you try to look at Argentina for a bad performance, which I don't think it was, sometimes you should have to take your hat off and say, you know, fantastically well defended by Iceland.
But after what happened in the game against Spain, we saw what Ronaldo did. This was being billed as Ronaldo raises the bar, can Messi follow suit? But round one to Ronaldo by technical knockout.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, if you look at key moments in the game, obviously Ronaldo scores a last-minute free kick. Lionel Messi has a last-minute free kick, and obviously we can't forget the penalty. 12 yards out, you know, you put your hat on Lionel Messi doing that. He looked cool, he looked composed. But sometimes, you know, the occasion gets the better of you. You don't expect that from Lionel Messi. You expect him to put them away.
Is he trying too hard?
Possibly. You know, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I think what he knows is he's not in a fully functional team. You know, you look at the team on paper, Aguero can influence in an attacking perspective, possibly Di Maria, but most of the attacking, most of the goals, the assists, they're all down to Lionel Messi, and it's a lot of weight to have on your shoulders.
It's not hard to notice the contrast, you know. There was a pressure situation in the game against Spain, 2-3 minutes to go plus perhaps whatever was coming in injury time. Ronaldo steps up, lines it up, waits, not been scoring too many goals via free kicks. The distance was there. He had to curl it around, puts it out, takes the goal, and it feels like a victory. So on the other hand, here you have Messi, arguably his greatest rival for the claimant of the best footballer on the planet, and he absolutely messes it up. And that theme seems to be continuing, because each match which happens like this, fans start questioning his performance in an Argentina shirt. He's a great player, perhaps one of the greatest that ever is, but you can't discount matches like this. That was the key moment. That was 3 points in the bag.
Well, I think obviously with Ronaldo, you've obviously got to remember that he'd already scored 2 goals, so he's kind of on, you know, his confidence is sky high. So he puts that ball down, and the belief's there, the adrenaline's flying, and he knows if I nail this one, it's going to be my hat trick. Messi had a couple of chances, you know, he'd had a couple of curlers that had gone just wide. You know, he was just completely snuffed out. Every time he got the ball, there was 3 or 4 Icelandic players all over him. Most of the time he got the ball, he was receiving it a goal side of their midfielders. You know, there's probably 8 players in front of him, and it just looks like you know, 2 banks of 4. It's just a massive wall of Icelandic Vikings. It's hard to get through. So the difference in the games was Ronaldo's on the counter attack. He's getting a little bit more space, because obviously Spain are so affluent and they're dominating possession, where the opposite side, Messi's dominating possession, Argentina are, but there's just bodies everywhere, and obviously the Icelandics you know, they're so hard to break down. The commitment was unbelievable. Everyone
loves a David versus Goliath story. Perhaps this time David didn't win, but this was worth, it's that point, it was worth its weight in gold for Iceland.
Yeah, without a doubt. But now, what was telling for me was that the final whistle, they're not jumping for joy, Iceland. Obviously, they're delighted, but I think there was a real belief about it. I think they almost expected a point out of this. It's not like, you know, you see Iran win the other day against Morocco, and everyone's jumping up and down. They're throwing the coach up in the air. It's like we've won the World Cup, where Icelandics were humble. They've got the feet on the ground, and there's a real strong belief, and that's in their blood, really. It's in their characters.
So what they did, can you explain it to us, if we can have it here on your tactical board? Because looking at the quality of players on either side, one would have expected Argentina to stroll through. The final score is 1-1. Iceland basically set up to defend. Argentina, perhaps once they got that goal, had a chance to take the game beyond them, but they just let that goal in, and that allowed Iceland to just sit back.
Basically, what the whole game plan was about was just protecting these kind of areas here. And if they protect that, then obviously half the job's done. And when we look at the kind of shape that you find them in, it was kind of, it's as kind of schoolboyish as this, that the space in between these units, there's absolutely nothing here. And obviously, you know, Lionel Messi is there. He's the man that they're trying to stop getting into that space. If Lionel Messi all of a sudden gets the ball and he starts receiving it in these kind of areas, then he's dangerous. But 9 times out of 10, Lionel Messi was receiving the ball here. At times, as soon as he got it, 3 or 4 Icelandic players rushed to him and pressed him. So then it wasn't unfamiliar to start seeing Lionel Messi starting to roam into these kind of positions to try and just to get on the ball. But like I say, if Lionel Messi receives the ball there and there's 8, 9 players to beat, plus a goalkeeper who's in fine form, then half your job's done. And that was what it was. The back line as well, the back line was so deep at times. You know, most of the times the back line would be at this kind of position, even though at times the ball might be in this kind of area up there. So they really did do a fantastic defensive duties, and the game plan worked.
It actually reminded me of a game, Champions League game 2010, when Jose Mourinho took Inter Milan to Barcelona and they had that kind of a performance. But you're a coach. If you are faced with a team which is going to sit back, what is the way to break them down? I didn't see a plan B. Everything, as you said, was coming in through here, trying to find that one through ball somewhere or the other. Perhaps what could you have done? Perhaps stretched them wide, done something different?
I think possibly. You know, he might have chose to put Higuain up front earlier. You know, Higuain, you know, even if we're counting, if we're counting that this is Higuain. Obviously, if he's up front with Aguero, possibly go with 2 centre-forwards. Higuain came on with about 10 minutes to go. And then maybe get a bit more width, to get the ball wide, maybe try and get some crosses into the box to go for a plan B. But for me, the best way to do it is, it sounds stupid, but you want Iceland to attack you. You know, if they start bringing the ball up the pitch, they'll start to disperse players. And as soon as they disperse players, when you win the ball, turn over possession, if you can play it quickly, forward, nice and quickly, you'll get them dispersed. But on the flip side of that, the Icelandic recovery runs were fantastic as well. They got back really fast.
Interesting. And also what happened was, we spoke about the suspect defence, Argentina's suspect defence in the build-up show at 2:30 p.m. Today. And we spoke about that suspect defence. They couldn't even hang on to that lead for more than 4 minutes. What it could have done, if they had maybe 10 more minutes, 20 more minutes, then Iceland would have had to come forward, and Argentina had the quality to pick them off on the break.
Well, that's the turning point. Obviously, you know, games are always decided by key moments, key factors, and that was certainly a huge factor in the game. Only 4 or 5 minutes after Argentina scored, Iceland do, so all of a sudden they can retreat back into their 2 banks of 4, make it difficult, whereas if it would have stayed at 1-0, the longer the game goes on, the more obviously Iceland have to come out of their shell, come out of their holes, and Argentina can pick them off. So for me, it was a huge plus for Iceland to score so quick. And obviously, Argentinian players will be devastated with that.
Yes, they are. And it depends how they bounce back. They didn't have a very good start to the last World Cup as well, even though they won the 3 matches. They were tight games. But do you see the quality? They had overwhelming possession, all the stats in their favour. Do you see this Argentina team progressing higher up this World Cup? Because if they don't top this group, it's going to get very difficult for them.
I think they've got enough to get out of the group. You know, I'll be very surprised if they come up against such an organised, committed defensive team again, which means Messi will be able to influence the game more. Aguero, we've seen his goal, we've seen what he can do, low centre of gravity, spins on the sixpence and gets power in his shot with hardly any backlift into the top corner, so he's always a threat. Di Maria needs to do a little bit more, but you know, if 1 or 2 of those get injured, they haven't got too much else to rely on, so they are fairly thin in the attacking perspective. And I don't think they got enough to win it, but I think they'll still get out of the group.
Okay, Argentina struggled, but they weren't the only team to struggle.